All right, good afternoon, guys. Thanks for joining. Let's get into this week's partnered event. So right off the bat, can you guys go ahead and type a Y in the chat if my audio is coming through and if you're seeing this intro slide right here? Awesome. Thank you, Raymond. Thank you, Stephen. Also, feel free to use that chat to ask any questions throughout the webinar. We will get to those throughout and after the demo. Now, I see we have a lot of regulars here. I hope you guys are doing well. For those of you that are first timers, my name's Ty. I'm one of the guys here at SharkIndicators. I've been with the company for a few years now, and I love what I do. Outside of work, I like to box and train jujitsu. I don't know if we have any martial arts practitioners here, but if we do, I'm sure you can agree that while it is challenging, still not quite as tough as trading. So we've been involved in the NinjaTrader ecosystem for 6 years now, and we developed some really serious trading tools. Now, that being said, trading is serious work. If it was easy, everyone would be doing it, right? So on that note, let's take a quick look at the risk disclosure. Take a minute and look this over. I'm sure many of you are used to seeing it by now. Now, for partnered events like this, we like to bring in NinjaTrader vendors and educators so you, our viewers, get some variety and exposure to different trading methods and other tools in conjunction with our software. So let's dive into today's topic, which is why serious analysts are using Trade the Plan's ToolbarPRO. And today we're joined by Daniel Rowe and Brad from Trade the Plan, as well as Corey and Josh. So again, make sure you guys are asking questions. These people are here to answer them. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and pass the mic and the screen over to Brad so we can just go ahead and get this thing rolling.
Okay, thanks. Welcome to today's webinar from SharkIndicators featuring Trade the Plan's ToolbarPRO. My name is, as Ty said, Brad E. More on me in a moment. We need to also show the disclaimer. I need to read a couple of sentences here. Trading the markets on margin carries a high level of risk and may not be suitable for all investors. The high degree of leverage can work against you as well as for you. Before deciding to trade any market, you should carefully consider your investment objectives, level of experience, and risk tolerance. Possibility exists that you could sustain a loss of some or all of your initial investment, and therefore you should not invest money that you cannot afford to lose. All right, at Trade the Plan, who we are, we're empowering serious traders with the tools and services needed for today's market. Trade the Plan centers around one person's ideas, vision, and efforts, Daniel Rowe. Here's how he got started. In 2007, Daniel started at a private equity fund in Ecuador. The firm wanted to do better, so it paid for his education. They bought several trading systems. He traded live. They blew up. It happened to be the financial crisis in 2007, 2008 timeframe. He got let go. He moved home. He was determined yet. So he researched other methods and created new systems, traded live again, and blew up again. In 2013, he found Bloodhound and SharkIndicators, and finally was able to perform fast statistical analysis on all the systems and ideas he had. Realized most were useless. He also became very proficient in programming with Bloodhound, with all the solvers and everything, and it started offering Bloodhound programming services, partnering with SharkIndicators. And so he quickly discovered through working with clients that most mechanical trading systems did not have an edge, but through all of this work was able to determine what tools worked and what didn't using a rules-based system. So he founded Trade the Plan and had a vision for more advanced tools that could be semi-automated. Trade the Plan allows him to execute on that vision. He also became a consistently profitable trader. Let's jump forward to 2018, this year. This year, Dan's expanding Trade the Plan, porting the tools over to NinjaTrader 8, advancing the tools, advancing the training, and advancing the community, and also offering market analysis services, which you'll touch on in the demo. And that's me. I'm Brad, and I've been in software development project management for 20 years, and so I came on board to help Dan run the back office and relieve him of some responsibilities so he can get back to building, spending more time on really building the training material, advancing the tools and services, and innovation. What we do at Trade the Plan. We create innovative tools to advance the TTP trading methodology. We teach others how to trade, where all traders here, I think Dan now has brought on folks from the room that are actual traders, and we're now part of the team. And we're traders teaching other traders. And we provide a thriving community through the live trade room. But we're not. We don't sell secret oscillators. I'd be lying if I say I didn't fall victim to this in the past. I think everyone has, but we're not doing that here. We're not going to show you hypothetical back-tested results. No slippage, missing, no post-dictive data, none of that. No laptops on boats. We're not. You won't see that here. You can get that on Instagram. We're really looking at real market analysis, and this is much more of the reality. Okay, the trader roadmap. When you typically come into the industry, you come in all excited, maybe come across some ebooks, get interested in trading, you buy some signals, buy some indicators, maybe some market reports, you start trading, and inevitably you lose money. You start acquiring baggage or bad habits. You read books, get remotivated, you go out and buy more indicators, and you repeat the cycle. Maybe a few times, and you keep adding to that baggage. And so after enough of that frustrating cycle, at some point you either seek out or come across a proven method. And that's where we encourage you to consider looking at us at Trade the Plan, a proven method and advanced tools. Once joining Trade the Plan and picking up the tools, we teach you the method. You have to learn the method, learn the tools, then begin to execute efficiently on your way to becoming a consistently profitable trader. What everyone strives for, right? Obviously, you've picked up some bad habits along the way. Not following rules, over trading, missed trades. We've all been there, and that's where Shark Indicators comes in with Bloodhound and Blackbird, where we can semi-automate the trades with trade management. Dan's going to demonstrate that in a few moments here. So let's dig in now to the core of the method. I'm sure all of you have worked with trend lines before, at least to some extent. They've been around for centuries, but really the core of our method is market geometry. And so the history of market geometry is kind of interesting. Started out with Roger Babson back in the late 1800s. He graduated from MIT. He started out with action and reaction lines, came up with an equilibrium concept and the normal lines. He actually predicted the 1929 stock market crash and managed to turn $1,200 into millions. And if you research him, that fund still lives on today and is over 1.2 billion. And he founded the college, of course, Babson College, and a few others. Alan Andrews then greatly expanded on Babson's methods. About the mid-1960s, he came up with the concepts of median lines, parallel lines, and pitchforks. And we're going to see a lot of these in what we do coming up here. But really, since then, there's not been a lot of innovations in this particular area of technical analysis. So Dan's vision is to take these proven concepts and bring them into the 21st century and expound on them. So this method, the TTP trading method, along with the ToolBarPRO, is the most advanced market geometry tools available in the trading industry. We constantly make them better and better, and this is why it's excited to be involved with TTP and these tools, because it's actually advancing the industry. It's moving it forward, and that's what's exciting about it. And the setups are good too. But with that, we'll get into the demo. So Ty, if we could pass it to Dan, that'd be great.
Excellent, excellent. Well, thank you for the introduction, Brad. And thank you, Ty, Jeremy, Zach, the team at Shark Indicators for hosting the event. I've been working with the team at Shark Indicators for several years now, since about the end of 2013. And Bloodhound has just gotten better and better. Now with Blackbird, we're actually able to fully automate our trade management. And I'll be getting into that here in a little bit. The first thing I want to do is make sure that we're all on the same page and that you guys understand, just kind of the basics of market geometry, what it is that we're talking about. So I imagine people have been drawing lines on charts for well over 150 years, probably much longer than that. So this all kind of starts with trend lines, and I'm sure you guys know what a trend line is. NinjaTrader allows you to draw them, and you can snap to the high and low here, or the bar and price. So it's a little tricky to get it right on the low. Here we go. That's the low right before the election, and this is the ES daily chart. And I got to go back here and kind of drag this and get it anchored properly. All right, so that is a basic trend line on a daily chart, and you can see that lines up with the low here. So this is probably the most common thing. I'm sure all of you know about it, how to draw a trend line and then do a parallel, which I'm doing now. I'm copying this line, and this is essentially a trend channel. Roger Babson is pretty much the father of market geometry analysis. What you see here, just a basic trend line and then a channel, a parallel of that trend line. He took it a step further. He developed what he called action-reaction lines, basically applying Newton's third law. I think it's for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction. What he would do, he would draw from low to high. So he would identify the swing. Let me just give you an example here and show you kind of the progression of this. All right, I gotta click on that low. And then the high, that's basically the action line or the normal line. And then he would take it back and identify where we had a previous reaction. And then that would be the line to the right into the future, the one that's projected. That would be your future reaction lines. And wow, you can see this is actually lining up really nicely here. So this is one swing from low to high, and I've dragged it back to the previous high before the low. So you'll hear me say that quite a few times, where that is one of the most important areas, the high before the major low or the low before the major high. So we had a lot of supply come in here, and then you had a lot of supply come in there. Whoops, kind of moving it here. And of course, obvious major demand there. Okay, so he's drawn for this action-reaction system here, method, from low to high, identifying that swing, and then, like I said, dragging it back to the preceding area where you had a reaction. That's actually lining up perfectly at the high, and then that same width again for the low here. All right, so that's the action-reaction line. What Alan Andrews came along and did, he added the median line. He used this basically as inspiration, he says. So the Andrews median line is what people refer to as the Andrews pitchfork. Okay, that's drawing from low to high to low to get that center median line there. So it's basically taking a line and drawing it through the 50% retracement. I don't know if you can see that very well, but at any rate, he's drawing a median line through the 50% retracement from this high to this low. That's the median line, and then a parallel from the high, and then a parallel from the low. Let me just delete that fib real quick. I don't want to get lost in the details here, but this was the next progression. The Andrews median line set, what people call the pitchfork, and then he added all of these warning lines. All right, this is a 50% warning line. You see the labeling here. 100% warning line from 0 to 100 or negative 100 is the width from the high to the low here. You see, and that major high is lining up with that upper parallel. Okay, so we started with a trend line, then a channel, which is a parallel of the trend line, and then the action-reaction lines, and now the Andrews median lines. All right, what we've done is not only make the application of this type of analysis way faster and easier, but make it to where we can actually automate entries and exits and trade management based on these areas. So I'm going to delete all of this stuff off the chart and then delete my stuff. Okay, now I'm able to apply as many different presets as I want with these buttons and use a hotkey. I can assign each one to a different hotkey, so I can have different settings for each one of these. And with this one, I'm actually drawing both the median line set, the Andrews median lines, the pitchfork, which is the white set of lines, and the trend channel, which is this dark magenta and indigo set of lines. So I'm drawing both of those at the same time with 2 clicks, and it's auto finding the swing low, not just the low of the bar, but the actual swing low. So I just delete that. Look how fast I can draw it. It's just instantaneous there. So with the ability to draw this stuff so quickly, with a single instance of this indicator, one floating toolbar that can, control every single chart and workspace that you have with NinjaTrader, we can actually do this type of analysis on multiple instruments and even faster time frames now, and it's manageable. So let's just go through a couple of examples right here on this one chart, just to show you how these areas line up with the major swing highs and lows. Then I'll walk you through my live results, trading these methods live in a real money account. I think you'll definitely want to see that. So if you actually do that, what I'll be showing you are the results from a live trading account, starting with a pretty small account, 5 grand, but I did that on purpose to prove that this could be done. You could grow a small account consistently if you have the right method, if you actually have a system that can produce consistent positive returns. Even if you are able to implement the best risk management and you're executing your trading system with 0 errors, well, that's great, but none of that even matters if your strategy doesn't have an edge, if your strategy cannot produce consistent profits month after month. You might lose money more slowly if you get the risk management and the psychology down, but you'll still lose money. So it's absolutely essential that you have a system that can make money. And that's what we've proven out here. That's what this is all about. The market geometry is the backbone to that system. This is absolutely the most important key to how I've achieved those results. It's identifying these areas of support and resistance, supply and demand, where you have multiple areas coming together and trading only those areas. So after the track record, I'll come back and show you all of this stuff in a market replay example, walking you through exactly how we can now automate the entire trade management side of this and eliminate those, stupid things that we do, moving stops, adding to losing positions. We can totally eliminate all of that now and develop that trade management system. After we do that in market replay, which is really the grand finale to this presentation, I'm going to show you how here shortly, in about a month or so, we'll be releasing a new service that will allow you guys, basically anybody that has the toolbar, to sign up to different markets and get my analysis and my team's analysis, Josh, probably Cedric and Brad, where we are performing the analysis every morning because we're doing it anyway for our own trading. We'll be performing the analysis and then exporting it to a server, and then whoever is subscribed will be able to automatically import that directly to their charts. So if this looks like it's a little too much for you to handle, maybe it's a little too complex, you won't have to worry about that now because you'll be able to get our analysis directly to your charts. So we'll have to limit the total number of people that can sign up for that. I'm not sure exactly how many yet, but it's I don't think we'll be able to take too many on the same markets. I mean, if we add more markets, maybe we can take more people, but I mean, this is pretty exceptional analysis and we don't want too many people on the same markets. But again, that'll be a subscription-based service. So anyone that owns the toolbar will be eligible to sign up for that, but we will have to put some sort of cap on the total number of people that can sign up. All right, so after I show you guys that, how it's going to work, then I'll pass it back to Brad and he'll show you how you guys can gain access to this. Okay, so let's go through what I have laid out here on the ES and then a few recent examples in some other markets. One of the things that I find so interesting about market geometry is the fact that so many of these swings are related to each other geometrically. And I know that sounds kind of crazy, but it's really quite amazing how this stuff works. You see this low right here? So that is actually the exact bar on which that center median line is intersecting the channel line there. So market geometry produces the areas in both time and price. So it gives you a better idea as to where the future supply and demand will come in as far as price, but also when those prices will be met, which is pretty exceptional. And I can even go back here. I'm sure these swings are related because that's just kind of how this works. So this is major supply, obviously major supply here, and then pretty obvious demand, right? Well, I just draw from high to high, and that is the 100% warning line of this channel. So it's the width of the channel subtracted from the bottom of the channel, and that's lining up right there. You see the 50% warning line kind of lined up with these lows here. So all of these major swings, the vast majority of them anyway, will be related to each other in some way geometrically. And that's what this method intends to prove out and solve, so that you can actually find those reversals, those major areas where the market is likely to reverse before the market gets there. So you can then get into some of these really high reward, low risk entries that produce pretty sizable returns. And what we have now is the ability to actually get automated signals out of these areas when we have at least two or more lines coming together. And you can set it up however you want to, but that's the way that I have it set up here. We want at least two areas coming together on the same bar to give us the signal out of Bloodhound. And if you're not familiar with Bloodhound, maybe it's your first time seeing all of this, Bloodhound is SharkIndicators' flagship product, which enables us to do all this kind of visual drag and drop programming. So what it does is it allows us to build out all these rule sets to build the signals. Okay, so Bloodhound, we can easily build out rules for our trading system. And then Blackbird, which I'll show in a little bit when we do that market replay example, Blackbird is actually what allows us to then create all of these very, very specific trailing rules for the profit targets and stop losses. So we've developed a reader system, what we're calling a reader system, which allows us to read all of the areas from all of the different charts. So if you see here, I have several instances of these solvers. This is showing me all the solvers and all the Bloodhound templates that are active, and it's telling me that the status is okay, they're linked up properly, and they're inside of Bloodhound. If they were on a chart, it would say chart. But these are inside of Bloodhound, and they're linked, and everything is fine. This reader manager allows us to control the connections between the readers and the charts and Bloodhound and lock that connection in place. So the purpose of this is to ensure the connections never drop, and to also update historically when you're trying to do manual backtesting like I'm doing here. So as I'm marking up the areas for the historical bars, the signals won't show until I refresh. So there, I've refreshed it. You see Reader Manager notified. So if I make a change, if I delete everything, okay, Reader Manager notified, the signal goes away, I draw it back, Reader Manager notified, the signal comes back. You see, that's for historical. For new incoming bars, you don't have to do anything. It's live and active and good to go. So that's how we're able to get now these signals that we can then automate. It's without a doubt the most complex, well-coded design that I've ever seen for any platform, to be able to read not just the areas that are produced by the market geometry, but literally any indicator from any other chart inside of Bloodhound without having to run any of the calculations of those indicators inside of Bloodhound or Blackbird. To be able to do this is literally a game changer. We can now program out specifically the exact rules that we want for our entries and exits. You know, even as discretionary your system may be, even if you're using volume profile, which we have an exceptionally well-made volume profile built into the toolbar, even if you're using some of these discretionary methods, we too use those discretionary methods, but now we're able to access all of the areas that are produced by those methods and then refine our rules around those areas to the point to where we can automate, at least semi-automate, at least remove some of the human element from our trading. We don't want to introduce so many rules that we run the risk of, over-optimizing or curve fitting the data, but we do now have the ability to remove at least some of the discretion involved in some of these different discretionary methods so that we can at least mitigate some of those problematic areas where we tend to kind of, fail to perform well and we make mistakes and get into those kind of downward spirals. So that's what we're trying to mitigate. So let me show you a couple of more examples just right here on this chart. That high was really a pretty amazing high. There we have another channel intersecting with the median line. I can actually hide all of the warning lines with this little hide warning lines button and then bring them back if I want. You see? Now it's also from low to low, and then if I drag this all the way back to the highest high right there, the market actually made it up to that perfectly. So that is where the heavy demand came in at the end of that correction. The demand came in after the election, and then the parallel from the market top there in 2015. And that's where we topped out in 2018. Isn't that interesting? Let me just clean this up a little bit. I have this little tool where I can kind of clean up the charts, deleting these lines individually just so you can see a little better. And you can see how it came right up to the top there, right to the top of that channel, and then came straight down, and it came straight down to a number of different things really. Let me just delete everything, and then we'll draw a simple trend line from low to low to the actual low before that Sunday night move there with out of the election. Came right down to that baseline, that trend line. All right, if I delete that and then draw from the high here, which is the first high after that big low, and then the high right here, the 100% parallel or warning line of the median line set came in at that high. And then this upper median line, after we broke through it, pulled back to here. There were like, I don't know, something like 10 or 12 different areas that lined up right there. We even have a trend line from low to low that comes in right there. So pretty amazing stuff. One more thing, with this volume profile, we actually have what's called the volume weighted average price at that low. So this was the first major correction in 2017 right here. And I would say this is about the end of it right there. So I'll start my profile from here and then run it to the right. Now what you see happening is I'm drawing a volume profile from an independent indicator that's floating all over the NinjaTrader environment. I don't have a volume profile tool attached to this chart, and yet I'm able to draw a custom volume profile on any chart, any sized chart. This is a daily chart. There's nobody that has a tool that can do this on a daily chart like this, because you would have to be loading all of that data or already have it loaded into the chart in the background to build this profile. So we can build these volume profiles on any chart, any time frame. We can use minute or tick data, and then we can access every single area produced by those profiles. You see here, this is the VWAP. Let me just hide everything and then bring back just the profile. So that's, again, the first major correction of 2017. That VWAP, that's the volume weighted average price. That's the cumulative average of all of the contracts traded at every price. That's giving us sort of the average price of the swing as it develops. And look where it came right down to. Okay, so this is another method that we use for helping to identify and make confluences between the different methods we have for support and resistance. The most important method that we have is the market geometry by far, but the volume profile does add to that. And the toolbar gives you the ability to do both at the same time, which is really pretty exceptional. I don't want to spend too much time on the volume profile. It's a fairly complex subject and really deserves its own separate demo. But again, all of these lines are accessible. We can attach alerts to any of these lines. There, I've attached an alert to the VWAP. If it were to come back, I can actually attach an alert to the value area high if it were to pull back to that, and the alerts will update with the areas as they update. Pretty incredible system. All right, so back to the market geometry. Okay, so let's bring this stuff back. Now the next obvious thing to do would be to draw from high to high, right, to find the next low. So if we do that from here, from high to high, you see we have the channel lining up right here. But of course it does go down a little bit further and hit those final areas that do come together there. It's really just amazing how all of this stuff works together. I can even draw from this high to this high and bring it back to the low, and look at that. We've got not only the channel intersecting at the low, but also its center median line. Pretty exceptional stuff. And then I just refresh, re-notify, but this is again only for historical. You don't have to do this for the live trading. This is just to do marking up of historical charts and trades. There are the Bloodhound signals from these three areas coming together. All right, so if this is a daily chart of the ES, let's move down to, okay, this is a 12,000 tick of the ES. These are the most recent lows that we've had. Remember I said the high before the low is a very important area? Well, I'm drawing from the high before the low to the highest high. Look at that, lines up perfectly with those lows. But we want another area, so I connect from high to high. And look at that. We've got the lower median line intersecting that area. We have both the center median line and its channel intersecting that low with the upsloping median line. And there are my signals. And then I can come over here and just clean up the areas that I don't want or need. And we can even quickly copy these and do parallels, which is a little bit more advanced of a topic that I won't get into. I'm not going to, release all of our little nuances today, but just to give you an idea as to how well this stuff works, I think we can definitely do that pretty easily. All right, now let's go to the next chart down. Okay, it looks like a 15-minute chart here of the ES. This is the ES workspace. So let's just start from back here. All right, let's say that I want to find the next major area where if we get a pullback, we can find a long trade. We have the major high here. This is the most recent swing high. This is the high before the final low to this high. Looks like that upsloping lower median line is coming in a little sooner, but if it pulls back into this area, we would look to get into a long. And with trend lines, I don't make them active immediately because sometimes I use those as copies and move them around, try to figure out the slope of the market. But when I'm sure of one, I'll change it to what's called our buy line color, and now it becomes active inside of our strategy templates in Bloodhound. Okay, so now we can go forward, and okay, there is the spot right there where it all comes together. And I've just notified the reader or the set of readers with a reader manager inside of Bloodhound to get that historical signal for the purposes, of manual backtesting like we're doing. We're marking up the charts. We actually have a really lovely tool for synchronized scrolling of the charts for manual backtesting, which I won't have time to show today, but There are so many features. This is such an incredibly feature-rich piece of software, and the features that we've designed for this are not, just simply willy-nilly developer's paradise stuff. This is specifically, everything in this is specifically for making this exceptional analysis as fast, efficient, and accurate as possible. That's the real purpose of all of these combined functions. Just briefly, the alert system is like no other. We have anything that you could think of that you could possibly want for an alert system built into this function. Several different types of alerts, proximity, crossover. You can make it sound like an alarm to wake you up. You can make it send you an email message, which you can set here. It has a built-in screenshot functionality, so you can screenshot the chart and email that screenshot from the chart that's been alerted directly to your email. And then of course you could forward it, from your email to your text if you want. Really pretty incredible stuff. I guess I've said that a number of times now, but it still amazes me how far we've come with this tool. Our development team is so exceptional. I basically design the specs, tell them what I want, and they make it happen. All right, so let's keep scrolling forward here. And let's actually just start from scratch. Let's go to the recent data. All right, so the first thing I want to do is mark out from low to low. Let's imagine that we're, trading today or yesterday. So I want to mark out from low to low. That's the actual trend line that's been defined as of right now. It's definitely a good one, obviously, because we've already had one hit here. So let's imagine that's already happened. What else do I have? Well, I want to connect some of these major lows and highs together. So we had a nice reaction in demand here, so low to low. Okay, well I've got a midline intersecting right there. I'll set this to the buy line color and refresh. Look at that. So that's just from those two lines, and then if we have one more, well this is the low before the major high. And there we have our resistance for the close and another midline intersecting right there, which you can see a little better now. So pretty cool, right? Now we're on a 15-minute chart. This works all the way down to the smallest time frame, both tick and minute charts. Tick charts are especially useful if you're connecting from a previous session over the overnight to the next session, as it does provide a little bit different areas than the minute charts will. So we do use both minute and tick charts. All right, let's move on to crude oil and just go over a couple of more examples, then we'll get into that track record here. So what happened at this major low to cause the market to turn all the way back up like that? Well, this is the highest high looking back here. So that's the major area where demand came in before that high. This is a major low. Let's just kind of mark these out real quick. We've got major demand coming in here, major demand coming in here, and then obviously the low, and then major supply coming in there and there. Let's connect the demand together and look at that. Do we have it lining up perfectly down there? Yes, quite perfectly. Okay, let's see if we have another area. Let's connect high to high, and there's again another 100% warning line, and we have multiple areas coming together for that extreme low. Interesting stuff, isn't it? All right, let's just delete all of that and move forward now. Let's say we're looking for a major high. We have a couple of areas to choose from. This would be the first major low after the highest high. So I'll just draw from that one to the low here. We use the midline as support there. Looks like we've hit the top of that channel as resistance. And let's draw from low to low now. We've used that upsloping lower median line all the way up. And this is actually the highest high right here. And that's kind of the end of the area where the most supply came in. So if we just simply copy that and bring it down, I'll actually bring it down to this preceding low here. That's lining up with these highs. So that's one little nuance that I'll let you in on now. That's one of the ways that we kind of confirm a channel, but the market moves in these different sloping sections. And this is, again, one of the ways that we confirm. But here, I'll set that to the cell color because it is a copy. And now reload again. And there's my major area for the next reversal, right? And then it comes right down to the upsloping lower median line. And, you know, this is a daily chart of crude. But I actually traded that low and the same low that coincided there in the ES because of these methods. I can even draw from this low to this low, and that channel is coming in there as support, especially if I eliminate that wick and actually drag it to the major area where supply came in and actually pushed it straight down here. So multiple areas coming together at that low. Again, another little trend line like we had in the ES came in there as well. Okay, so moving on to the next chart. This is the 240-minute chart. This is the major high before the final low. The next major high, there's that center median line intersecting the exact lows there. And then we actually had one more, well, we had multiple areas here, but this is one more I'll show you on this chart. From low to low, it gave us the next low, and then it gave us these two lows perfectly. And then I just set that to the buy line color when I want it activated and reload. And there are my signals in Bloodhound. This is the low that I actually traded during the trading room on Wednesday. That was right before the crude oil report. And a lot of times they'll use that report to move the market directly out of a major area or slap it right into a major area and then reverse. And that's what they did here. I just kind of got out a little too early just because I didn't want to hold through the next pullback if there was going to be one, and basically just got out with the maximum favorable excursion on the trade. All right, let's move through the rest of these very quickly here. This is an hourly chart. I've already got it preset up here. High to high, channel from the low, upsloping, hits the area perfectly there for the major high or low that we've just had in crude. And then high to high, parallel from the low, intersects there perfectly for that signal in Bloodhound from our reader system, coinciding with the VWAP of this first swing up. So that's the actual average price of that first swing. And then here on the 5-minute, this is that higher low after the major higher low. So this was the major higher low on the hourly we just saw, and then this is the higher low after that. So this is the high before the low, right? Remember, high before the low, major high, parallel from where we had major demand come in, comes in there perfectly. Together with this upsloping channel, which has a midline intersecting right there. And where did it go? Right up to the top of that channel before the close. Pretty amazing. Now let's double back and look at this major low that we were looking at on the 240-minute, but now on the 15-minute chart. This is the one that I actually traded, which I'll show you here directly. High before the low to the major high, right? Supply, supply, demand, and then demand. And then what else? I want to connect from low. I want to connect some major swings together. Low. When I have a bunch of wicks like this, I like to use either the lowest closing price, or if it's at a low, the first higher low. If it's at a high, the first lower high. And then, yeah, there we go. Those are all intersecting there. So now, well, that's really enough for a trade, so I'll reload it. And there we go. And I can clean up the rest of this pretty quickly now. We have a lot of stuff built into this that I'm not getting into, which I just really don't have time for. What I want to do now, well, there's one more little channel, I think, here that lines up pretty well. Yeah, it's a perfectly symmetrical move there. Very nice. And there we go. So I want to show this one now. Just a very short little recording. It's like a minute, minute and a half long, where I'm actually entering this live in the room, in the trading room. So I wasn't trading in a live account here, and I'll get into that in a minute. I've been proving this stuff out in a sim account to make sure that it's all working properly. I've been doing that for the past few months now, and it's working flawlessly now. So this is just another layout here. This is a grayscale layout. You can use as many different images, icons, colors, you know, however you want to make it look. Fully customizable. As you can see, now Blackbird is entering the trade for me here, and I'm going over that. These are my trailing stops and targets that I'm using, which I'm about to attach to some different lines that are protecting the trade. For instance, this blue auto line or channel line. I'll back up my stop behind that area. And then once it starts moving up here, just before the report, trying to play it safe, I go ahead and take one off. And then the report takes it straight up, and it moves, you know, so far so fast that I'm basically just playing it safe and getting out on such a massive hourly bar. So there I just took one off before the report, and here's after the report, and it's starting to move pretty fast now. So I take it out with just about the maximum favorable excursion on the trade, pretty close to it. And that's it. At the same time, we were having a higher low in the ES. And I just didn't take that one because I wasn't quite ready for it. I was focusing more on crude. So I did take this low here though, and you can see some images. Now we do have these different confirming tools, which I'm not going to get into now, but they are for confirmation. The areas that we're trading from are developed from the market geometry and the volume profile. The major areas that we trade are clearly defined by the market geometry. Okay, and this is me entering that trade, that low in the ES, which had so many areas coming together there perfectly. That was like a perfect reversal. This is another one that I'd recently taken, which made it from one area right up to the next. And now I want to go into my track record here. Okay, let me see if this has logged me out here. I have this account that I started with 5 grand. Basically, I had already proved, I had put these methods together a long time ago. I was helping design trading systems for Bloodhound clients since the end of 2013. Before that, I was working at a hedge fund. Well, it was a private equity fund. It wasn't they didn't have a huge amount of money, but that's where I got exposed to market geometry for the first time, as well as volume analysis, but especially the market geometry. And then when I moved back home and continued working, I went on every possible tangent that you could think of. I went into just ridiculous stuff, even as deep as GAN and astrology, or astrological cycles anyway. At any rate, 95% of it just doesn't work. And once I really was able to start doing the kind of testing that's necessary to prove these things out, you can come to that realization pretty quickly. The problem is a lot of us don't know how to do that type of analysis and testing, back testing, putting together different rules for a system. And then you start finding out about degrees of freedom, and too many rules actually constrain the system, and you end up with worse results than if you would have simplified and removed some rules. I'm talking about mechanical systems trading. So long story short, I put together some of the things that I knew provided useful data, independently. Like, how do the markets really operate? If they're random, if they're purely random, well, then there's no way any of us are going to make any money. And yet people make money consistently trading month after month. So there has to be some order to them, and that's what I spent all my time learning and trying to piece those things together. So I started with a sim account and grew that for 2 years. I'm not going to go into the details of that because it's really probably unbelievable. But then I started this $5,000 account to prove that, like I said earlier, that you could start with a $5,000 account, a small account, and grow it consistently if you have the right methods. If you have some red light, green light thing that you've bought and you're just blindly taking trades, pulling the trigger without really knowing what you're doing, it's going to be impossible for you to have results like these. So you can see I'm gradually growing it here. 16, see, so on and on and on. Let me bring up this Excel spreadsheet. It'll make more sense here. This is one thing that I'm kind of ashamed of. I didn't log the trades properly. I didn't do proper journaling, but at the same time, I mean, I'm running a business. I have a couple of full-time developers. I'm running a trading room, doing this track record in the trading room, doing webinars, doing half of customer support, 16-hour days working. So yeah, I guess it was a little difficult to find the time to properly log the trades. But at any rate, you can see, even with making a lot of mistakes along the way, and I had some pretty magnificent drawdowns in here. Well, I say magnificent. They weren't that bad. I mean, I had a couple of days that, yeah, that was a bad day. That was a day where I had to have moved my stops and added to losing positions. I don't know what the deal is with that. It's a thing that comes along with all the psychological baggage of blowing an account a couple of times, which I think I carry with me. But at any rate, I still succumb to that from time to time. I did here, and here, pretty obviously. And then again, a little bit here. It looks like over trading a little bit. Really, on average, I didn't take more than about 3 trades per day. For me, if I'm taking more than 8 or 10 trades a day, I can end up getting into a downward spiral and losing quite a bit of money pretty quickly. So that kind of happened to me in here, and thankfully I recovered pretty quickly. And then here, I took a massive drawdown 3 consecutive trading days in a row, and that was enough to put me over the edge. And I said, okay, enough is enough. I have to get to the point to where I can either, one, control myself by myself, which I think I've proven that that's a little difficult for me to do, or 2, work towards at least automating the trade management side of this. Even if I don't enter fully automatically, which I actually can now, but even if I don't, I can at least automate the trade management, so I'm not adding to losing positions, I'm not moving my stops, and I'm not doing all those things that get me into that downward spiral. So that's the point of all this. So you can see almost 450% in 250 calendar days, but a lot of those days I didn't actually trade, so 140 trading days. I know it's not very much, but again, I was starting with a small account on purpose to prove this out, not only to myself with a live account, kind of starting back small, but also to the guys in the trading room and anyone else. I just kind of messed it up here, which, whatever, at least I'm not showing you a bunch of back tests. So what I want to do now is move into the market replay example, show you how this works inside of Blackbird, which is really, really lovely and such a stress reliever for me. And once I finish with that, I'll pass it to Brad, and he'll tell you guys a little bit more about the details of how you can gain access to all of this. Okay, let's do this. This is really the best part of this presentation. This is really amazing stuff that we can do inside of Blackbird. I already have everything set up for market replay, so this is the major area. I showed you the trade that I had taken from here, and let me kind of document that further. I don't like to show sim results, but I ended that live track record when I had that drawdown, and that was about the end of July. And then we started, working really hard to automate as much as possible, at least the trade management side, with this reader system, trying to get it right. It took quite a while, but over the past few months, I've been testing it in a live scenario, but with a sim account. So this is just the past couple of weeks now that I've built this new computer, but let me just take it back to see exactly how far it goes. IQ, instruments, I'm going to remove these. So this is the sim results. So that's 10 grand. A lot of that, half of it was that big trade that I took in the ES. I mean, that thing was, the stop on it was 20 points, I think. It could have just as easily come back and stopped me out, but it did end up going a pretty good ways in my favor. Now, yeah, really nice results, but pretty small sample size. But I've been doing this for the past few months on another computer, and this is a new computer, just trying to verify that this stuff is working properly, and it is. Yeah, it's about the past week or so, that's right. And then for this past week, I haven't traded at all, getting ready for this webinar. So not a lot of trades, but still pretty nice. And I started with a $10,000 account, so almost double in a week. I mean, that's probably not going to happen again for a while. I think it's the result of all this volatility that we've had. But this was one trade that I did take in those results. And this was the major, at least one major area. You saw the previous one from the 240-minute chart. I have Blackbird here on this 5-minute. This is what's going to automate the entry and the trade management. And then you'll see that we'll attach the orders to areas from these two charts over here. So I will turn on Blackbird, make sure that I set it to market replay, and enable it right here. Okay, let's turn it on. Oh, and before I forget, I did just show you some results that I generated in a sim account. So obviously trading with fake money is nothing like trading with real money, as far as, you know, the added mental strain and anguish that comes from experiencing a drawdown with real money that you've worked for. But, you know, if you can get to the point to where you're making money, fake money, consistently, then you have a much better chance at trading a live account consistently. And that's why I've been doing this. But since it is a sim account, I just want you guys to understand that it's, you know, a little bit different. Those results are probably quite a bit better than they would have been in a live situation. Okay, so I'll set the Bloodhound template to display the trades properly. I've already got the areas drawn here on the 15-minute. I just need one area from the 15-minute and one area from the 5 or the tick chart. Now, we already have two areas from the 15-minute, but the 5 is equally as nice here, giving us our last down-sloping areas. So I connect from the high to the high here, and we're looking to make it down to this area again. So we have our rejection out of the area. We have a sign of strength. Now I want to see it come back down and test that area. And that's what you saw me waiting for in that little recording we just watched. Okay, so these lines are all active and good to go. I'm going to make this on the right side of the screen, turn Blackbird on, and turn market replay on. So we just need two areas coming together on the two different charts, and then we'll have a trade which we will manage using Blackbird and the market geometry. Now this is a little maybe extravagant of an example because it is such a major area of reversal that turned into a massive trending move to the upside. And this is maybe more geared towards swing traders that could have held that trade for a longer period of time, maybe a few days. But this works equally as well with day trading smaller swing highs and lows. I just need it to come down and break that low a little bit, and then it will get into this trade here.
Order pending.
There it is. Cool. So that's a beautiful retest of that low. Back into the areas. Really nice. So what I want to do now is define my stop loss on the 15-minute chart. And the area that's protecting the trade the most, or let's say the largest area protecting the trade on the 15-minute, is this channel. So I'll select that line and then set it to the stop color. You hear that noise? That's Blackbird attaching those stop loss orders to that line with a set of trailing rules that I've defined for those stop loss orders that will continue to trail that line with every new bar. Let me make this just a little bit bigger so you can see the labels here. Okay, so at this point I want to define where my target should be. I have to find one target on the 15-minute and one target on the tick chart, and I chose to use one from the tick and one from the 15-minute because sometimes the areas are a little bit different on the tick charts than they are on the time-based, especially when you're drawing across just one session, one or two sessions. It seems like the further back that you go, the more the tick charts start to align with the minute charts, and it's good to have one target defined on one and the other on the other. Now, if I was looking at this and saying, well, if this is going to fail, where would the first spot be that it could fail from? I would say just a simple trend line right there. That would be the first target, but that's not exactly very much reward. Let's see. Yeah, it's not bad. The initial risk that I had was pretty big though, because it's defined by the average range on that 5-minute chart. I just put the order in like that with a large average range setting just to get it in, and then I fine-tune the areas that I want to trail the stop behind. Well, median line theory goes, you tend to make it back to the center median line about 80% of the time. And there have been a lot of people that have done tests on that. I'm not sure exactly, how they gathered their statistics, but it works well enough, a high percentage of the time, that I would at least say there is an edge in that. Is it 80%? Well, I don't know, but for a lot of trades, you can expect to make it back to the center median line fairly often. So rather than playing it safe for this one, I'll attach it to that center median line here on the 15-minute chart, and I do that by changing the color to the target color, and then it attaches that order, you see? So now that's Blackbird doing all of that with our reader system. Now I'll play it kind of safe here on this tick chart by, let's see, it's a pretty good ways away up into here. Let's do like this, from this high to this high. I'll attach the target on the tick chart to that trend line right there, and that's now attached there at 144 ticks from where it currently is. And then we'll run this thing out here. So let's speed it up. I think we're about to go into the crude report here momentarily. This is where I took the order off before the report at that trend line, and then here's the report. And it just takes off to the upside, as you can see. So we've broken out of that first downsloping area on the 15-minute, and now the next area is here on the tick chart.
Order filled.
Right, number one came off there. And it's about to get hit.
Order filled.
And there it is. Really amazing what we can do with Blackbird now. Okay, let me tell you very quickly about the market analysis service that we're rolling out the first week of April. Probably Josh, who helps me in the trading room, and another couple other guys that help me in the trading room with performing the analysis, will be the analysts for this service. I'll be one. I'll probably have two or maybe even three markets that I'll manage, and they'll each have one or two, and we'll do the analysis like we do every morning. And what we'll be able to do is actually export that analysis. So let me show you how that works. I'm just going to add some random stuff on here and show you how it ends up directly on the server One more thing here. This Elliott Wave button, I didn't even mention, it allows you to change the nomenclature with a hotkey. So if you're into that, we have that as well, and that will probably be included in the analysis. So what I do as the analyst, I'll click on the export button when I'm done for a particular market, and then click on the chart, and that will upload the files to the server. See, ES uploaded successfully. So it makes a separate file for each market. All right, now then, let me delete all of this, and I'll click on the import to open the import manager, and let me set it to subscription, and then it will show me what I have available here, whatever I've subscribed to. And I can select which charts I want to show, which ones I don't. I'll eliminate one or two. I can change the color of the different objects and set the name of the analyst here. You can filter this based on all sorts of different things. You can completely replace your existing analysis with ours, which would be the mirror. You can do all this automatically, so you don't even have to use this import manager. And you can do it all manually. So however you want to do it, but I'm going to click on the import, and there it is. Isn't that amazing? Even the Elliott Wave labeling and the volume profile instantly to the chart, to all these charts. It's so amazing. We've been working on this for a while, and just to see it actually working now is pretty exciting to me. This is going to be a game changer for a lot of you guys that maybe, it's a little difficult to get started with this. You've got to do a lot of pointing and clicking and selecting the right highs and lows. I think that's why a lot of people don't use market geometry analysis in general, and this is going to open that up. So this is going to be really, really nice for you guys. So I'm going to pass it back to Brad, and he'll tell you a little bit more about how you all can gain access to this. Okay, thanks for your time.
Great, thanks Dan. Now that was a great demonstration on how you can use technology to your advantage with the Toolbar Pro to efficiently analyze and mark up your charts. We built a great community at Trade the Plan, and we encourage you to check out our online reviews at Google and Facebook. And that takes us to today's Toolbar Pro webinar special. Included in the toolbar is of course the semi-automated market geometry, the volume profile for minute, daily, and tick charts, horizontal lines, rays, Fibonacci retracements, and extensions, the TTP alerts engine, including audio and visual alerts, including screenshots sent via email. You can label Elliott Wave quickly and efficiently, the advanced precision ruler and risk-reward meter. Workspace management, you can add workspace buttons to your toolbar for all of your workspaces and assign each button for one individual workspace. So this makes it very easy to toggle back and forth between workspaces if you're trading a lot of markets. And you can also make them hotkeyable. So you can assign any combination of keys on your keyboard as hotkeys, or if you have a controller, to toggle back and forth for workspaces, as well as all of the other, pretty much all the other buttons on the toolbar are hotkeyable. So your market geometry lines, adding volume profile, your horizontal lines, rays, Fibonacci retracements, extensions, the alerts, they're all hotkeyable. And so you can really easily and efficiently draw on your charts. And this is what pro analysts want and need. But most important probably is that the market geometry, volume profile, and the lines are all exposed as a data series for Bloodhound, which means you can use it in Blackbird. So any idea that you have for a system for market geometry, as you saw, as Dan demonstrated, but for volume profile, all of those nodes are VWAP, POC, LVN, VAH, VAL, and the cluster areas. Those are all exposed as data series in Bloodhound. And so you can use them in Blackbird to backtest whatever you want to prove to yourself that you have a viable system. And that's very, very powerful. And so that takes us into the pricing page. All the packages include the market geometry and ToolBarPRO user guides written by Daniel Rowe. It also includes the custom workspaces for ES, CL, the Euro and Gold, the MG Confluence Bloodhound and Blackbird strategy and trade management templates. These are only included usually in our Master Suite package, but for the webinar special today, these are included in the ToolBarPRO package because market geometry really works well with these templates. We want to make sure that you have that. Access to all weekly training sessions every Thursday. Every Thursday in the afternoon, we go over a training session where we cover the setups of the week, maybe how to draw market geometry, how to work with Bloodhound and the templates, how to catch the setups, what you did right, what you did wrong, Bloodhound, how to work with the trade management. If you have something that you're trying to do in Bloodhound with your own system, if you're designing, modifying it, you can ask questions, we can help you with a particular issue. Really covers the run of the gamut. Every week kind of has a different theme. These are recorded and made available. And now the bonus. So for 1 month, you get free access to the automated market analysis service. Now this is going to be a new offering that's coming online in April. We're going to be offering multi-timeframe market geometry and volume profile analysis directly to your chart. Now Daniel previewed this a little bit earlier, so for at least the ES, crude oil, the Euro, and gold, you'll be able to import the analysis from Daniel and team's charts at certain times of the day directly to your charts. And so you could use them in your trading, you could use them for learning, you could do market geometry, do your drawing, then import the analysis and compare and contrast. This is really, we think, going to be a game changer in the industry, and we're very excited about it. Pricing. The ToolBarPRO package normally runs for $18.45, and it doesn't normally include the market geometry, Confluence, Bloodhound, and Blackbird strategy templates. So that's another bonus that's only available this weekend. We're marking it down $350 this weekend only, down to $14.95. This will definitely be the last time these are available for under $1,500. And I say these, meaning the ToolBarPRO and the market geometry, Bloodhound and Blackbird strategy management templates. The ToolBarPRO package with Bloodhound is $22.90. The package with just Blackbird is $29.90. Say you have Bloodhound already. Now the ToolBarPRO, Bloodhound, and Blackbird total package, you have our $350 discount this weekend, and SharkIndicators, when you buy Bloodhound and Blackbird together, you get an additional $295 off. So the total savings is $645, bringing the total to $34.90 this weekend only. And so again, it's $14.95 for the ToolBarPRO package, $22.90 for the ToolBarPRO plus Bloodhound, $29.90 for the Blackbird and the ToolBarPRO package, and the total package is $34.90. And that concludes SharkIndicators Webinar today from Trade the Plan on the ToolBarPRO. If you have any questions, feel free to check out our website at tradetheplan.com. Email me at info@tradetheplan.com. Connect with me on Skype at brad@tradetheplan.com, or even give me a phone call at 312-485-1031. I look forward to hearing from you. Once again, check out the link below for the offer details. And with that, I think we'll take some questions.
You see, I think Josh and thanks, Corey. I think Josh and Corey have answered a lot of your questions. If you already own the toolbar, we did add it to share file. So all of you guys that already own the toolbar will have this update available already. And then most of you guys that have the Master Suite already have it. But I have added a couple of other things. I just need to update the workspace for crude oil. So that'll go out probably tomorrow. So those of you that own the full complete Master Suite will get that tomorrow. No, Carlos, we don't do trials, but we'd be happy to do a demo for you. If you want to write in to info@tradetheplan or give us a call, we'll gladly set that up for you. Yeah, we don't have an update available for Ninja 8 yet for the toolbar. We'll hopefully have that here within the next few months. So we do have the update for Ninja 8 with the volume tools, but the toolbar is taking a little bit of time because it is so complex, but that's coming soon.
Hey, I can step in and take that. Thanks for asking, RJ. Bloodhound and Blackbird are actually in the first beta testing stages for NT8. So if you're currently a Bloodhound or Blackbird owner, you can reach out to support@sharkindicators.com and let them know that you want to be on that beta list. Otherwise, any future purchase comes with the NT8 beta as well. But we are in the first stages of NT8.
Good deal. Well, I don't see any other questions. I think we've answered pretty much all of them, all that I can see. All right. Well, thanks, you guys. And thanks, Ty, everybody at Shark Indicators.
Very cool. Yeah, guys, for anyone who tuned in late, we will be sending a recording link to your email address at some point tomorrow. Thank you, guys at Trade the Plan. Great presentation as usual. Thank you, traders, for tuning in. If you guys have any questions for the guys at Trade the Plan, again, send that email to info@tradetheplan.com. If you have any questions for Shark Indicators, send that to support@sharkindicators.com. All right, thank you again, Daniel and Brad and team at Trade the Plan. Hope everyone has a great night.
Thanks, Ty. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Ty. Bye, everyone.